This is News 8 Now, this morning.
As far as I'm concerned, the right of Wisconsinites to make their own reproductive health care decisions is a fundamental freedom that shouldn't have to be put to a vote. It was right for the last 50 years. It was a right until June 24th, and it still should be a right here today.
A recent poll shows that American adults feel it's unlikely they'll have a better standard of living than their parents. We spoke to an economist about why they aren't far off.
In November, one local town will ask its residents for funding for the fire department. We've got that story.
We are spreading Gemütlichkeit, and we get to benefit as much of spreading that Gemütlichkeit as everybody that gets it rained upon them.
Well, good Wednesday morning to you, and thank you for joining us here on News 8 Now this morning. I'm Jordan Fremstad.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
Well, we've got some colder weather moving in, the real
it's
fall.
Coming. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's going to start here by the end of this week, Jordan, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. I'm not going to lie, because I want to break out some of those jackets.
Fall is the best season. I don't think it's close.
Kind of get to dress up and everything. It's kind of fun. But right now, though, it is looking pretty cloudy across the Coulee region. So let's get right to it now, and you can see the abundant cloud cover that we're dealing with now around the area. And that's actually kept us from getting too cold here this morning. The clouds overnight kind of act like a bit of a warming effect, if you will. Kind of traps the heat down at the surface for us overnight, at least it does. We're also watching some rain showers back towards the west that are not expected to affect us here, though, locally. Temperatures are in the 30s in Blackbird Falls and Sparta. Eau Claire's at 51 degrees. Winona's at 50, and Viroqua is waking up to a current reading of 51 degrees. Your daycast for today, looking cloudy here throughout the next several hours. In fact, really all day long, we can call it a mainly cloudy day. The difference is temperatures will warm up into the 60s between 11 and 1, followed by the 70s as we get near the later afternoon hours today. We'll also be watching out for a chance of rain showers between 5 and 7 p.m., the best time frame there. Not expected to be a washout by any means, but just to let you know, you could run into a couple of stray showers, though. Ragweed and weed is low. Mold is high for today, and same forecast here once again into tomorrow. But I'll be back with your schoolcasts coming up in just a bit, and plus we'll talk about the big cool down that we're expecting by the end of the week that we were just mentioning there, Jordan.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot for the update, Derek. Well, Wisconsin's Republican-controlled legislature takes mere seconds to reject Governor Tony Evers' call to create a way for voters to get a chance to repeal the state's abortion ban.
The October 2022 special session is adjourned. Objection.
The Senate met for 15 seconds in total to gavel in and adjourn the special session called by Governor Evers to pass a constitutional amendment that would create an up or down vote on the state's abortion ban. Roughly a dozen Democratic lawmakers were in the chamber at a pro-abortion rights rally outside the Capitol after the legislature adjourned. Governor Evers called on voters to remember the Republicans' action on Election Day.
As far as I'm concerned, the right of Wisconsinites to make their own reproductive health care decisions is a fundamental freedom that shouldn't have to be put to a vote. It was right for the last 50 years. It was a right until June 24th, and it still should be a right here today.
Many Democrats expressed their frustration and also booed them within that chamber.
And I just shake my head and I ask why. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to lead. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to govern. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to listen to the will of the people.
A Marquette University Law School poll last month showed a majority of Wisconsin's registered voters support abortion rights. Unlike other states, Wisconsin law does not allow voters or the legislature to place referenda on the ballot. State Senator Brad Pfaff returned from that session in Madison to meet with the reproductive health care supporters in La Crosse on Tuesday. He says the 1849 abortion ban doesn't belong in a modern legislature and was visibly frustrated at the legislature gaveling in and out without a discussion.
I recognize that this is not an easy subject. I realize that. And I also realize the fact that it's the legislature's job to come forward and to provide the voters of this state a little bit more clarity than what we're providing right now. They're not providing any clarity. Instead, they're punting and saying, we'll see what happens after the election.
Pfaff is running as the Democratic nominee for Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district. A conservative Wisconsin law firm is suing to stop President Joe Biden's federal student loan forgiveness plan, saying it is discriminatory and unconstitutional. The firm, called Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, is asking a judge to block loan forgiveness until the lawsuit plays out. The law firm believes this was an overextension of executive power. The lawsuit is not the first to be filed against Biden's plan, with lawsuits being filed in Indiana and Missouri. It's the American dream. For many, that means making a better life for yourself than those before you. But for an increasing number of adults, that no longer feels possible. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen explains why.
As prices rise, it can be hard to get by.
I mean, everything's expensive, even milk, everything, groceries, not just housing, everything's going up in prices.
Not being able to afford daycare and then not being able to work because he's not old enough to be in daycare yet is really struggling for me.
Part of the American dream is the idea of pulling out of that struggle.
For my parents' generation, 90% of them ended up out earning their parents. So it was actually very common for many years in the United States to have children making significantly higher incomes than their parents did.
But a Stanford Center on Poverty and Inequality study shows that has dropped to just about 50%. Single parent Kyle Kenhammer sees that firsthand.
Just having a kid, and that's what motivates me to try to be, at least if not better than what my parents had, but I don't really see that happening.
Plus, an Associated Press poll reveals that most American adults are pessimistic about improving their standard of living. Business professor John Robinson explains there's a reason for that pessimism.
The total amount of income that Americans earn is quite a bit higher, but it's very much concentrated at the highest, like 10 to 15% of earners.
For some, like Heather Berger, earning a degree can serve as a solution.
My hope is that I can maybe attain the same, but not have to put in as many hours. So hopefully that's what my degree is helping me with.
But debt and high wages at the top are keeping many from getting there. In La Crosse, Emily Haugen, News 8 Now.
Now, if you would like to learn more about that study, there is a link on our website at news8000.com. The Holmen Area Fire Department currently has 6 full-time firefighters. According to the town chair, the referendum, if that does not pass, the town may only have 4. In November, a Town of Holland residents can vote yes or no on a reoccurring $582,000 referendum. The goal of the referendum is to fund additional firefighters to staff station 24/7. Now, leaders say in the past 5 years, the need for firefighters and EMS has increased by 51%.
We reached a crisis point where we don't have enough staff for the communities of our size and the area that we serve relative to other communities in the state.
Currently, the La Crosse Fire Department provides assistance to the Holmen Area Fire Department. Now, if the referendum is passed, it would take effect in January of next year. The department would start hiring additional firefighters as soon as possible. The national workforce shortage has caused stress for everyone, especially healthcare workers. Wisconsin Medicine, a partnership between UW Health and the UW School of Medicine, is directly tackling those shortages with the creation and expansion of new programs. The company Epic helped kickstart the programs with a donation which will help healthcare workers deal with the healthcare shortage from all angles.
They saw great potential in this program, in a program that will help young adults from historically marginalized community enter the workforce, develop professional careers.
Among the new programs are an expansion of an existing apprenticeship program and a new nursing recruitment program which will employ nurses and help pay for their education. Oktoberfest may be over, but the spirit of the weekend still remains. The Oktoberfest royal family made a stop at St. Rose Convent in La Crosse on Tuesday. It is part of the royal family community tour of over 25 visits to places like schools and nursing homes. For many of the schools, they invite the tour back every single year.
We are spreading Gemütlichkeit, and we get to benefit as much of spreading that Gemütlichkeit as everybody that gets it rained upon them.
Pratt also says that they focus heavily on spreading joy, not just at Oktoberfest, but all year long. Peace is on its way to La Crosse. The Golden Rule, a historic sailboat, is sailing the Mississippi and will make its way to La Crosse today. Crews will be at Riverside Park this morning at 10:30 to spread the word about the dangers of nuclear power. At 12:30, Mayor Mitch Reynolds will hold a welcome ceremony for the boat. The night will close out with a presentation on the dangers of nuclear war at 5 p.m. Still to come on your Wednesday morning news, if you're in the market to buy a car right now, you might want to keep waiting. Officials say prices will continue to stay high. We'll explain just ahead. And grapes are thriving under drier weather conditions. How winemakers are taking advantage of drier weather after the break. With that in mind, we are sending you to break with something to put the good in your Wednesday morning. The World Dairy Expo returns to Madison this week, which means you have a chance to see cows from all over the country and the latest innovations in the dairy industry. The Dairy Cattle Show kicked off on Monday at the Alliant Energy Center, and today marks the start of the trade show. Dairy producers, organizations, and enthusiasts gather every year for exhibits, contests, and much more. The expo shifted its schedule this year, so it only runs until Friday. Daily admission, if you plan to go, is $15 at the door. Your latest forecast is just ahead here on News 8 Now this morning. We'll be right back right after this.
Quiet start there from City Cam 8, but pretty cloudy weather conditions across the area now, with current temperatures at around 50 in Winona and 54 in La Crosse. We're seeing the 30s though in Black River Falls and Sparta. 51 degrees is the temperature now in Eau Claire. Zone forecast today calls for another mild day this afternoon, with highs climbing into the low 70s today in Bangor at 71 degrees. Berry Mills also at 71. And as we head south here a bit, we'll be looking at highs reaching 71 today in Lafarge and 70 this afternoon in Soldiers Grove. 68 though if you're in Viroqua. Highs reaching 71 in Winona, 72 today in Sparta, 71 in Toma, and we will be looking at 71 today up near Alma Center. Highs reaching, though, the low 70s for Eau Claire as well, with a high of 72 for you today, 71 in Augusta, and 72 this afternoon in Stanley. Your schoolcast here this morning, 52 and mostly cloudy out there, 67 degrees, while still looking fairly cloudy. Mainly cloudy conditions continue for the afternoon around dismissal time, with temperatures at around 70 degrees. I'll be back with another check on your full weather forecast in just a bit.
Well, you may want to wait before buying that new car. Auto parts shortages are increasing average car prices. Now, the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes are making it more expensive to finance a vehicle. Plus, car companies and dealers have less incentive to take steps to bring down costs because demand is still vastly greater than supply. Analysts don't expect the car market to return to normal anytime soon. Tech giant Apple is being accused of employee discrimination. The National Labor Relations Board has reportedly filed a complaint against the company, claiming it discriminated against employees at its World Trade Center store. The NLRB alleges Apple wouldn't let workers put union flyers on a break room table, even though it allowed other solicitations there. Apple did not immediately respond to a request for comment on that complaint. America's debt has now surpassed $31 trillion. New data from the Treasury Department shows the government went on a borrowing spree during the COVID-19 pandemic to keep the U.S. economy moving. Since 2020, outstanding debt climbed $8 trillion, and in just 8 months, it jumped $1 trillion. President Joe Biden's policies could add $4 to $8 trillion more to that deficit between 2021 and 2031. Drought last year and dry conditions this year have been challenging for farmers in many parts of the state, but there's a Minnesota crop that thrives in dry weather. Winemakers say conditions for growing grapes have been almost perfect at many vineyards. John Luritzen shows us why dry weather is good for grapes.
We ferment and produce everything on site, so everything is made here, bottled here, and labeled here.
The winery at Seven Vines Vineyard in Washington County is celebrating its 5th year and perhaps its best year in business.
A 2,000-gallon tank will hold 10,000 bottles of wine, so there's a significant amount of product just in this space right here.
Head winemaker Matt Scott sees the process through, including the pressing of the grapes After their earliest harvest on record, Scott says they're looking at a vintage year.
A lot has to do with the weather, there's no doubt. Each year, even though it's drier and warmer, we're actually yielding more high-quality grapes.
This is Marquette, a red grape considered the grandson of Pinot Noir. Last year during the drought, the Marquette harvest was up 20%, and this year it's up another 22%. Scott says a breeding program for grapes at the University of Minnesota has led to more varietals that can survive winter. But grapevines overall don't like too much moisture and are designed to thrive in dry conditions. He says it forces the roots to grow deeper and brings about different flavonoids.
Our summer growing season is perfect because we're right at latitude 45. That goes through Bordeaux. It's really, we're getting the same kind of summer degree days or growing conditions. We're just in the middle of a continent, not by an ocean.
It also helps that the root system is now a decade old and stronger, thanks to Washington County soil.
This year, almost each varietal has come in with higher yield than last year. So everything that we're doing in the vines has just been helping us immensely.
Wine experts say hot June days and cool nights also help Minnesota grapes early in the growing season.
Pretty cloudy start outside now with a couple of light showers just off to our west. We're going to keep our eyes on this to see if they can hold together as they move towards the east. But really, this is all associated with this large or strong low pressure system back towards the west, which is expected to move our way and help increase the cloud cover and also give us some slight rain chances come later today as well. Now, right now it's 54 degrees with a light south wind here at the moment, and that south wind is going to help keep us yet mild here across the area come this afternoon. Temperatures as you head out the door are much colder, though, the further east you go, with current readings in the upper 30s to low 40s, but back towards the west and our central locations as well, mainly into the 50s heading out the door this morning. High temperatures today, though, again, very mild into the low 70s this afternoon, and that's all, again, thanks to that southerly wind profile that we'll be working with here throughout the day. Now, it will be pretty cloudy, though, with a chance of showers around 5 p.m. with temperatures just shy of 70 by that point, and then by 9 you can expect 60 degrees under mainly partly cloudy weather conditions. So the rain here is really going to come in as we get closer towards the evening. A couple of spotty showers there as that low pressure system makes its way closer towards the area. And then here comes our next very strong system in the form of a very strong cold front, which is expected to move in as we head into tomorrow morning. And as it moves through, we're going to get a very strong north wind. It will be pretty breezy here tomorrow behind the front. Very cold air, and of course cloud cover will make it a bit of a gloomy start here as we get closer towards the end of the work week. And then by Friday, that cloud cover is going to diminish. Even though the cold air will still be around, at least we'll have plenty of sunshine to work with as we close the work week. All right, so temperatures behind that system are going to be pretty cold, 30s and 40s as we head into Friday morning, and then really well into the 30s as we head into Saturday morning. In fact, we could be as low as the low 30s, possibly even flirting with the upper 20s. Basically, to say the least of this, it's basically going to be the coldest air of the season, and you can see that here on the next 8 days with temperatures dropping into the low 50s for Friday afternoon and then the upper 50s for Saturday. And then we'll start to see a warming trend here for Sunday and also into Monday of next week. There is a chance, though, of a few showers as we head into the middle part of next week as well, with some warming trends there before our next cool down arrives by Thursday. But stay tuned, though. We'll have much more news and weather still to come right here on News 8 Now this morning. For now, we're taking a quick break. Here's a look at what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. Cloudy skies once again across the Coulee region to start us off on this Wednesday morning, and it looks like those cloudy weather conditions are going to continue throughout much of the day. Here is a quick check now on your satellite and radar pictures showing those cloudy weather conditions moving in. Temperatures are currently in the 50s as you head out the door, but much colder back towards the east. Sparta's at 39 degrees and Black River Falls is waking up to 37. Dog walking forecast conditions this morning look cloudy. Will continue to be mostly cloudy for the afternoon, but watch out for a few showers that could become possible by this evening. If you plan on mowing here this morning, it's going to be a little cool out, 51 degrees, and then we're up to 62 under mainly cloudy skies by 11. Mostly cloudy skies at 3 with a slight chance of a shower. Temperatures will be much warmer, though. Pretty mild at around 70 degrees. I'll be back with your commute forecast coming up in just a bit.
Welcome to the Blitz. You can't say enough about the Westby volleyball team this season. The Norse have been absolutely dominant. They're 19-1, 8-0 in conference play. Their only loss of the season coming back in August. Westby at home last night looking to make it 20-1, but West Salem with different plans in this one. Panthers up 6 in the first, but Jen Norman adds 2 at the senior. Is going to keep it inside the line. West Salem's all fired up. They have a 17-10 lead. Panthers up 8 now, but Jada Berg trying to keep her squad in it. She goes up high for the kill. That cuts it back to 7. It's 19-12. But the first set belonging to West Salem. Jaden Hammis going up with authority. Panthers land the first punch. They win the first 25-12. Let's go to the second set now. This one a lot closer. It's knotted up at 11, but not anymore thanks to Mackenzie Stelner with the kill. Westby jumps in front by 1, and then it's Trisha Klum with one of her 34 assists on the night. Berg delivers the kill. She had 22 of them. That wins the set for Westby. In the third, the Norse taking control. Emily Collins, nice touch at the net here. Nobody home for West Salem. What a battle last night in Westby. The Norse hang on in a 5-set thriller. They were down 14-11 in the 5th, but 5 straight points for Westby as they improve to 20-1 on the season. Let's go to the MVC. Aquinas trying to keep pace with home, and the Vikings won last night. Could the Blue Goals get a win over Logan in the first? Aquinas off to a big lead with help from Amy Hine, who spikes this ball where no one can get to it. And then on set point, it's Zoe Emineth with the heater here. That can't be returned. Blue Goals take the first set 25-18. Second set, a complete turnaround for Logan. Ava Detweiler stuffs the spike to keep the Rangers ahead. Blue Gold storm back in this one. Aquinas goes on a 5-point run, but Jazzy Davis puts an end to it. She hits this missile, giving the momentum back to Logan. The Rangers win the second set 25-18, but Aquinas wins the next 2. The Blue Golds keep rolling. They win this one in 4 sets. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Breaking overnight, North Korea performed its longest ever weapons test Tuesday, a nuclear-capable ballistic missile that flew over Japan that could reach the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam and beyond, forcing the Japanese government to issue evacuation alerts and stop trains. The launch of the missiles caused the most anger from countries this year. Experts say these missiles could threaten the U.S. mainland. In response to North Korea's testings, the U.S. and South Korea fired 4 ground-to-ground missiles off the east coast of the Korean Peninsula on Wednesday. According to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staffs, the U.S. National Security Council's John Kirby told CNN that the launch was to demonstrate that the U.S. and their allies, what they have, now the military capabilities at the ready to respond to threats by the North. Australia is committing to 0 extinctions with a new plan to protect 30% of its land. The country has one of the worst records on extinctions. They plan to prevent any more species from dying out in the country with this new 10-year plan to protect most of its threatened plants and animals. The plan brings Australia in line with more than 100 other countries, promising to protect 30% of their land and 30% of their ocean by the year 2030. The Twin Cities is the area in the U.S. with the largest Hmong and Hmong American population, with just over 80,000 people. With that number expected to grow among school, has been something parents have been calling on for a while. Barrett Leone reports from St. Paul.
We've only just begun.
As Principal Vu Thor walks the hallways of Hmong Language and Culture Middle School, he's filled with pride.
This is something our families have been wanting for years. This is a bell pepper.
And from the garden
and the picture
to the classroom, Hmong culture, language, and pride is felt in every space.
Culturally relevant instruction is very important for our families to see that when their children come to school, they see themselves as authors or writers or mathematicians or scientists and language experts.
Now the Hmong Language and Cultural Middle School is a part of the St. Paul Public School District. It just provides another option for families, an option that 52 6th grade students have taken advantage of.
Is just really opening doors for us to see how language and cultural programs are established in a public school system such as St. Paul Public Schools.
Opening a new door that district leaders hope to build upon in the coming years.
When I went to school, it would have been great to see teachers that looked like me and a principal that looked like me.
I did not have this option growing up, although I've always had that dream and vision as a little girl about if I come to school and see teachers that look like me.
When we restore our area.
A dream, now reality.
That's our goal, is to say, this is your school, this is your community, and we're here for you. And so this is all about our children.
There are numerous Hmong schools in the Twin Cities area, with most of them located in St. Paul. Well, two of the former Minneapolis police officers who were convicted of violating George Floyd's civil rights are scheduled to begin serving their federal sentences tomorrow. J. Alexander Kang and Tu Tao are scheduled to report to the U.S. Marshals Service on Tuesday morning. It is not yet known where they will go. Kang and Tao are scheduled to go to trial on state charges later this month. The suspect of a Waukesha Christmas parade attack is representing himself from outside the courtroom again. The judge removed Darrell Brooks from the courtroom before jury selection got underway. He is charged with driving his SUV through the parade route, killing 6 people and injuring dozens of others. For the second day in a row, he interrupted the proceedings more than a dozen times.
Court's going to take a 5-minute recess. While I know it will take some time for the chair to be brought up. I did not agree to a estoppel, Your Honor. Then I move the court for a motion to dismiss based on grounds of judicial misconduct.
Brooks listened to proceedings from another courtroom. The judge let him back into the courtroom after lunch, but he caused another disruption when the jury entered the room and was sent to another courtroom once again. Seeing the devastation from the storm surge, wind, and rain has many of us asking what we can do to help. Relief groups in Wisconsin say you can send something that won't cost you a dime. Catherine Merck shows us how people in the area are stepping up with supplies that they already have.
Courtney Thomas truly believes
that would go above and beyond.
Each drop of her own blood makes a huge difference for someone else.
You save people's lives. You make a difference in people who don't have an opportunity to live.
Today, she's making that difference at Impact Life in Madison. The Blood Center was asked to supply red blood cells before Ian even hit Florida.
Blood is at a critical need at all levels right now.
As the hurricane now moves from Florida to the Carolinas, donating blood at places like Impact Life is going to be even more important.
Our priority is our hospital needs, and getting donors in the door and being able to collect blood products enough to have blood on the shelf will allow us to help with disasters as well.
Hospitals and blood providers in the South will need support from other parts of the country. More donations right here means more help could be on the way for those who need it elsewhere.
The storm will shut down the local blood centers, so they won't be collecting blood. What they have on hand is what they have, and when that runs out, they need help from elsewhere, and that's where we come in.
And when the need is called upon and we have surplus, we are able to help out.
That means a lot more people are going to need to do the same thing as Courtney to make each drop count toward the bigger need.
It's really nice and easy.
Impact Life is just one of the organizations that is aiming to increase blood donations for Hurricane Ian victims. The Red Cross and Community Blood Center are also participating. Well, back here at home, no one was injured in an apartment fire near downtown La Crosse early Tuesday morning. When crews arrived at the scene near Main and 9th Streets, smoke was coming from the building. All of those residents were already out. Firefighters quickly put out the fire and started in a basement. The fire left significant smoke inside the building. Firefighters were able to air out the building and all residents returned to their homes. Investigators have not yet determined the cause for that fire. The Town of Campbell Board has approved a motion to ask the La Crosse County Board for $100,000 for PFAS testing. Town of Campbell Supervisor Lee Donahue says that money would go toward a test well in an area where they previously haven't found too much contamination for the harmful forever chemicals. If the board approves, the test drill research will take several months.
It will help us to determine whether there is a safe, long-term water source, and that's really our goal.
Residents have been on DNR-supplied bottled water since March of last year. Governor Evers announced $10 million in grants that are available for people with private wells to dig deeper wells. However, the town of Campbell has found that digging deeper has no correlation to finding fewer PFAS.
It isn't pertinent to our community. It's not pertinent to the town of Campbell because we haven't found that correlation. As long as you're in that sand and alluvial aquifer, you're going to find contamination.
Donahue is submitting the formal financial request to the county board. She and the county supervisor discussed the $100,000 amount last year, and there was an informal agreement that if the town needed resources, the board would consider the motion. The City of La Crosse's J&A Committee discussed an ordinance on Monday that would rezone the building at 811 Monitor Street for affordable housing. The city proposed to renovate and create more than 30 affordable housing units there in mid-September. Now, that project would cost over $2.5 million. La Crosse's Finance and Personnel Committee on Thursday is scheduled to discuss a resolution to approve buying the property.
Well, this morning we are waking up to a pretty cloudy start. Right now, as you can see on the local satellite and radar picture, a couple of light showers back towards the west of us. Temperatures are in the 30s in Black River Falls and Sparta, 40s though in Volkfield. We're seeing the 40s down south, Prairie Sheen, Bosquebel, 50s in La Crosse northward towards Winona, and also in Eau Claire this morning. You're waking up to 51 degrees. For today, though, another mild day, 71 degrees, mainly cloudy. A few showers here are possible. South-southwest winds at 5 to 10, and for tonight, mostly cloudy, 54, and overall a mild night here in store as well, with a light and variable wind to work with. As far as your drivecast goes this morning, again, cloudy skies here to work with, and then mostly cloudy for your lunch hour. Could see a few showers though as you head in towards your evening commute on your way back. I'll be back with another check on your full weather forecast in just a bit. Jordan?
Thanks a lot, Derek. Looking forward to that. Well, in our Buzz Report this morning, tempers are flaring between Tom Brady and his wife Giselle. Sources say that Bunchen has hired a divorce lawyer. We'll explain about those details further in our Buzz Report when we return.
Cloudy skies here to start us off this morning, and we're going to continue to remain that way here, it looks like, for quite a while. We'll get to those details in a second, but it's really thanks to this low pressure system back towards the west that continue to influence the clouds across the local area, even some rain showers across portions of Iowa, which is expected to move in our general direction here, giving us a chance of rain showers come later today. Get to that in a second, but for now, though, it's 54 degrees currently in La Crosse. We got a bit of a south wind to work with as well at around 8 miles an hour. River stage being reported at 4.92 feet and rising here along the Mississippi in La Crosse. Temperatures are in the 30s, much colder. Black River Falls and Sparta both in the upper 30s this morning. In Eau Claire, you're currently at 51. Winona's at 50 degrees, and Viroqua checking in now with a temperature of 52. My forecast highs, though, today will be in the low 70s, making it yet another mild day across the Coulee region this afternoon. Under those mainly cloudy weather conditions throughout the day, there's also a chance that we could be looking at a few spotty showers by the time 5 o'clock rolls around. And it's all really thanks to that low pressure system that we mentioned back towards the west, which is expected to move our way, giving us some extra moisture to work with, which could set off a couple of showers here around the Coulee region. But if you look to the north, this is our next big system that we're watching closely. This is a very strong cold front that's forecast to move in tomorrow morning, which is going to give us not just cloud cover, but a very northerly wind to work with, which is going to help drag in a lot of cold air to work with as we get towards the day tomorrow and also into the day on Friday. Now, the difference is Friday, those clouds are going to clear out. High pressure is going to be responsible for breaking down the cloud cover and giving us some drier air to work with, leading to sunshine, even though that cold weather will still be kind of around the area. Now, as far as how cold we could be talking, well, by Friday morning, we could be as low as the 30s and 40s, and then well into the morning on Saturday, our low temperatures will be well into the 30s. In fact, some areas could be flirting with the upper 20s. That's how cold we're talking here. In fact, some of the coldest air so far this season will be arriving here by the end of this week. There you can see our highs in the 50s with lows into the 30s there. And then after that, we'll be clearing out the skies here by this weekend with highs in the 50s and 60s. Now, there is a chance that we could be looking at a few showers here by the early to mid part of next week. At the same time, though, our highs, though, should climb back up into the upper 60s. and then we'll start to see temperatures drop into the 50s, though. That was from our next system on Thursday.
In our Buzz Report this morning, Angelina Jolie filed a countersuit Tuesday against ex-husband Brad Pitt. It comes as the two battle over Jolie's 2021 sale of her stake in their joint French winery. Pitt sued her in February, claiming that the two had an agreement that neither would sell without the other's consent. Julie's counterclaim asks the court to declare the sale of her stake final so that the actress can move on from the winery and chateau. The report claims, a new report I should say, claims that wife of NFL star Tom Brady has hired a divorce lawyer. People's Magazine reports its sources told them Gisele Bündchen hired a lawyer after months of tension between her and her husband. Now the magazine says Brady is looking at doing the same. Neither Bündchen nor Brady have responded to these allegations of marital issues. Reports from last month say the two were living separately. On Tuesday, nationwide secondhand chain Goodwill launched its online re-commerce site, goodwillfinds.com. That new website is essentially the organization's first centralized online presence. Goodwill says shoppers can browse a curated selection of hundreds of thousands of items. That includes secondhand women's, men's, and kids' clothing, books, specialty and collector's items, and home decor. The goal is to fund community-based programs across the U.S. With that in mind, we've got a few birthdays to celebrate this Wednesday morning.
That's right. Happy 8th birthday to Zoe. Zoe enjoys the outdoors and has a hamster named Bella.
Happy birthday to Carter this morning, who is also turning 8 today. Carter loves riding four-wheelers and being outdoors.
A big happy birthday to Marilyn, who turns 88 today. She loves to embroider and work in her flower garden.
Now, in case you missed it, we have a new age range here on News 8 Now this morning for Look Who's 8. 18 is added to our list of birthday shout-outs.
Yeah, so if you know a special someone that's turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80 years old, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Yeah, make sure you let us know. Just upload their photo right to our website. Look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab at news8000.com. Your latest forecast and everything you need to know this morning in 5 minutes or less is just ahead. We hope you can stay with us. The October 2020 special session budget. Your morning news now on this Wednesday. You saw it there. Wisconsin's Republican-controlled legislature took mere seconds to reject Governor Tony Evers' call to create a way for voters to get a chance to repeal the state's abortion ban. The Senate met for 15 seconds in total at a pro-abortion rights rally outside of the Capitol. After the legislature adjourned, Governor Tony Evers called on voters to remember the Republicans' action on Election Day.
As far as I'm concerned, the right of Wisconsinites to make their own reproductive health care decisions is a fundamental freedom that shouldn't have to be put to a vote. It was right for the last 50 years. It was a right until June 24th, and it still should be a right here today.
Many Democrats voiced their frustration with Republicans and even went as far as booing the legislature.
And I just shake my head and I ask why. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to lead. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to govern. We have a legislature right now that doesn't want to listen to the will of the people.
A Marquette University Law School poll last month showed a majority of Wisconsin's registered voters support abortion rights. Unlike other states, Wisconsin law does not allow voters or the legislature to pass referenda on the ballot. The Holmen Area Fire Department currently has 6 full-time firefighters. In November, the town of Holland residents can vote yes or no on a recurring $582,000 referendum. The goal of that referendum is to fund additional firefighters to staff the station 24/7. Currently, the La Crosse Fire Department provides assistance to the Holmen Area Fire Department. If that referendum is passed, it would take effect in January of next year.
Cloudy skies out there now. Temperatures into the 50s through at least 9. 60s here, 11 and 1, followed by temperatures rising into the upper 60s to low 70s by this afternoon under mainly cloudy skies and a chance of a few showers here by this evening.
The national workforce shortage has caused stress for everyone, especially healthcare workers. Wisconsin Medicine, a partnership between UW Health and the UW School of Medicine, is directly tackling those shortages with the creation and expansion of new programs. The company Epic helped kickstart the programs with a donation, which will help healthcare workers deal with the healthcare shortage from all angles.
And they saw great potential in this program, in a program that will help young adults from historically marginalized community enter the workforce, develop professional careers.
Among the new programs are an expansion of an existing apprenticeship program and a new nursing recruitment program, which will employ nurses and help pay for their education. Oktoberfest is over, but the spirit of the weekend still remains. The Oktoberfest royal family made a stop at St. Rose Convent in La Crosse on Tuesday. It's part of the royal family community tour of over 25 visits to places like schools and nursing homes. For many of the schools, they invite the tour back every single year.
We are spreading Gemütlichkeit, and we get to benefit as much of spreading that Gemütlichkeit as everybody that gets it rained upon them.
Pratt also says that they focus heavily on spreading joy not just at Oktoberfest, but all year long. Peace is on its way to La Crosse. The Golden Rule, a historic sailboat, is sailing the Mississippi and will make its way to La Crosse today. Crews will be at Riverside Park this morning at 10:30 to spread the word about the dangers of nuclear power. At 12:30, Mayor Mitch Reynolds will hold a welcome ceremony for the boat. And the night will close out with a presentation of the dangers of nuclear war. That's at 5 p.m. Gunderson is offering a new COVID vaccine booster. The Pfizer bivalent vaccine is available for patients 12 years and older who received a booster at least 2 months ago. A Moderna bivalent booster will soon be made available for anyone 18 years or older. Anyone interested in getting this booster can schedule an appointment at the Gunderson Vaccine Clinic.
And as you head out the door, it's a pretty cloudy start already. Temperatures in the 50s, and then we're going to continue to remain cloudy through much of the afternoon. 66 at noon, 5 o'clock, looking at a few showers that could become possible, 69 degrees. Our high today, though, should reach 71, so another mild day. Enjoy it while it lasts here because we got a big cool down on the way starting Thursday. So tomorrow, Jordan, right around the corner.
30-degree temperatures soon here.
On Friday and Saturday morning. It's going to be real.
I thought we were going to enjoy fall a little bit. I like this mild fall we've been
having. Not going to happen much longer here.
Well, don't forget to keep up with the news of the day at news8000.com. And of course, we'll have the latest coming up this afternoon on News 8 Now at noon. CBS Mornings follows us here, and we're back again tomorrow, dark and early.
That's right.
5 in the morning. We'll see you then. Have a great day.